We often think that powerful leadership is all about ambition, right? About chasing success at all costs. But what if that's not quite right? What if true power isn't something you chase, but something you build? Well, today on The Explainer, we're digging into a blueprint that says exactly that. It's all about building from the inside out.
So, check this out. This is really our starting point. Wisdom is the root of all riches, not effort, not ambition. That's a pretty radical idea, isn't it? It's saying that the greatest success doesn't come from just grinding it out, from the hustle culture we hear so much about. Nope. It comes from wisdom. It flips the script and says the real work, the most important work, happens on the inside.
So that really begs the question, doesn't it? How do you build leaders who actually command success instead of just running after it? Today, we're going to walk through a blueprint that tackles this head-on. And it does it by mixing this kind of timeless ancient wisdom with really sharp modern strategy. And the goal here? It's not just about making successful people. It's about forging leaders who build entire legacies. All right, let's get into the first part, forging the inner kingdom. The whole journey, the entire philosophy, boils down to 3 simple words: be, know, do. And we're starting with be. This is the foundation. It's the absolute first step, and it's all about mastering what you can't see, your own inner world. This gets kicked off with a really powerful concept called thought governance. The principle behind it is actually pretty straightforward. You can't control what's happening around you until you first learn to control what's happening inside you. Think about it. Your outer world, your kingdom, is always just a mirror of your inner court. If there's chaos inside, there's gonna be chaos outside. Okay, so how do you actually build this inner world? Well, it comes down to 5 simple but totally unbreakable laws. And listen, these aren't just, nice suggestions. They're meant to be daily anchors. It all starts with the law of rising, having a wake-up time that you just don't negotiate with. Then you've got the law of direction, which means you're speaking your main goal, your chief aim, out loud every single morning. You do these things consistently, and together they create this powerful internal structure, a real foundation of discipline that everything else can be built on.
Okay, so once that inner foundation is solid, it's time to get the right tools. And this is where we move into the know phase. We're not just talking about, old school book smarts here. It's about a really dynamic mix of that deep ancient wisdom and some seriously powerful modern systems. This quote really nails it. I seek understanding above possessions. The whole focus here shifts to a deep, dedicated pursuit of knowledge. It's not just about knowing facts, it's about understanding the underlying structure of how things actually work. Because when you get that, when you truly understand a system, you're not chasing gold anymore. You're in a position to command it.
And this is where it gets really interesting. A visionary leader today operates kind of like a master gardener. They're asking those same timeless questions. What does the seed need to thrive? How do I create the perfect conditions for it? But here's the twist. They're using a totally modern toolkit to find the answers. They're leveraging things like AI and advanced platforms to speed up growth, to get an edge, and honestly, to see patterns that most people are just going to miss. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. This philosophy is actually being put into practice right now. Take the Evolve Mentoring Program, for example. They're aiming to raise $30,000. Why? To put these exact tools, both the ancient wisdom and the modern tech, into the hands of 500 young men. That comes out to just $60 per student to help them build their own inner kingdoms. That's pretty amazing. All right, so you've built the inner foundation. You've got the tools. Now what? Well, the final piece of the puzzle is action. Purpose-driven action. This is the do phase, and it's all about a critical choice. What are you actually going to build with all this power and knowledge? And this leads to a really crucial distinction. Are you building a castle, or are you building a kingdom? Think about it. The castle builder is all about their own success, their personal trophies. Like Michael Jordan and his incredible scoring titles. Amazing, but very individual. But then you have the kingdom builder. They focus on empowering the entire team, the whole community. Like LeBron James, who built a billion-dollar enterprise with his team, lifting everybody up in the process. See the difference? So how do you do that? How do you become a kingdom builder? Well, the ADA-PT framework is like the practical engine that drives it all. It's a simple 5-step process for turning any setback into an opportunity for growth. You accept reality for what it is, You discipline your response, you align your actions with your core purpose, you practice the habits that lead to winning, and finally, you teach others by being the example. It's a powerful loop. You can actually see this kingdom builder mentality in the real world, in how programs like Evolve are set up. I mean, look at this. Mentorship and life skills are obviously super important, right? They're rated highly. But notice what gets the highest score: community service. That's not an accident. It shows that true leadership in this model isn't really complete until your actions become about contribution.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important part of this whole thing, the lasting harvest, the power of contribution. Because the ultimate goal of this blueprint, it was never just about personal success. It's about creating a legacy, a contribution that keeps on growing long after you're gone.
Remember that master gardener idea we talked about earlier? Well, this is it, but in full bloom. It's this beautiful idea that giving produces way more than taking. The real measure of your success, of your harvest, isn't what you manage to gather for yourself. It's about how many future seeds you plant for other people. You plant one seed of giving, and you can end up with a whole forest. When you really break it all down, this entire blueprint is about one fundamental shift: moving from a selfish journey to a selfless one. It completely redefines what growth even means. It's not about what you get, it's about the value you add to others. Because from this perspective, having riches without a real purpose, well, that's just poverty in disguise. So, your life is a kingdom. This whole idea really reframes what success is all about. The final, most important question isn't what can I achieve for myself? It's who am I building this for? What kind of legacy, what kind of kingdom are you going to choose to build?